So hi, it's going to be a fairly short video, I think. What I wanted to do is talk about eating correctly and why it's so important and how to do it without trying to create an eating paradigm or a diet or anything like that. I just want to talk about what I think are a couple of the most important points. First, I'll introduce myself. My name is Gordon Walker. I'm 53 years old, and as of about 8 months ago, I was going through. Thank you, cat. Yeah, right. Okay. I was going through a 7-week stay at a hospital in intensive care, and the reason for that was that I had a hemorrhagic stroke. And then to compound things, I made the mistake of thinking it was food poisoning, and kitty cat, and not calling for an ambulance for 2 full days. I basically went through a 48-hour period, maybe a little bit more, where any kind of movement at all would induce dry heaving, and it felt like the world was spinning around on a turbocharged, unending merry-go-round. It wasn't a lot of fun. In a different video, I'll talk about that specific experience, what I think led to it, why I don't take any drugs for high blood pressure and have seen my blood pressure go steadily down, and why I don't think I'm at risk for that anymore, and the kind of workout and eating habits that I've developed since then. But today, like I said, I want to talk about eating in its most basic form and why America isn't eating that way, and much of the world isn't anymore. Something like 90% of the food we eat is produced by a set of companies, large corporations that are making billions of dollars by feeding us absolute garbage. And I was one of the people that was eating up that garbage. I think I'm saying too much, so I'll try to stop. The food that we're eating is garbage because most of it now is processed food. It's full of contaminated, added sugars, and it is about as healthy as eating ice cream all day. I really, really, really liked sugar. I ate huge quantities of it. I would add sugar into sugary cereals. When I was a kid, I thought nothing of taking sugar frosted flakes and adding a tablespoon or two of white sugar. And I drank lots of orange juice with that. That was probably the healthiest part of my breakfast, but it's also full of sugar. When you take a fruit, which is obviously going to contain fructose, and you take away the fiber, you get basically sugar, which explains why I would drink anywhere from 3 to 4 glasses of orange juice, and then the rest of my liquid intake was grape juice. Well, I loved Welch's grape juice, so I would drink about, remember I used to put away, I think those big bottles were quarter gallons probably, and I would drink one of those or more a day, plus the orange juice, plus whatever Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola. I didn't drink Coca-Cola much. Mountain Dew, Fanta, maybe grape soda that I could fit in. On top of that would come the Hostess Ho-Hos, the popcorn balls, which are just basically sugar, corn syrup, and popcorn with a little bit of almond flavoring, are delicious. But I don't think eating 5 or 6 of those, plus the orange juice, plus the grape juice, was a particularly healthy way to eat. It's sad to me looking back that I ate that way because I really enjoy sports and I was pretty good at them. I had a chance at being quite good at quite a few sports. I eventually coached tennis, had close to a 200 average, about 192 bowling, competed in ice skating, played hockey, played baseball, football, both American and European football. But I was at a huge disadvantage with anybody that was eating even remotely well, because I wasn't. I hated and still don't particularly like the taste of green vegetables, so didn't eat any of those. Um, it was like an experiment with what do you get when you feed somebody lots of sugar, lots of vitamin C, uh, and almost nothing else. Some meats. I liked food with meat. I'm now a vegetarian. I'm not going to try to claim that being a vegan or a vegetarian is the only way to eat. I actually think the Atkins diet and diets that aim for ketosis are one way to go, a good way to go. Being a vegan is also a good way to go. The key to me is get rid of processed foods. The list of ailments that come from processed foods and come from primarily the sugar and the carbohydrates in the processed food is just amazing. I mean, osteoporosis, diabetes, types 1 and 2, particularly 2, all kinds of heart issues, all kinds of chronic illnesses like, joint problems, like depression, like bad sleep, and bad sleep is its own litany of other issues that come with it. And they all come back to one thing, which is way too much sugar in our diet, way too many carbohydrates, and not enough of whole foods, real foods. So if you're going to do one thing to make a significant change in your life and in your health and in your sleep and in your states of mind, your moods, my moods have just dramatically changed, and they're huge swings. And the swings would be from, what I thought was a good mood or very good mood to very depressed, back to high up, back to low down. And when I say what I thought was a good mood, I've come to realize that my baseline had actually been lowered. So a good mood for me then, for 50 some years, was somewhere about here. Then I would swing down, and then swing back up and swing down and stay like that. Now, my general mood is better than my good mood was before, and I don't swing. I stay right around this level. Of course, some events can bring me down a little, some events can bring me down a bit more or a bit up, but basically I'm swinging like this, whereas before I was swinging, like that. And actually I think I brought this hand, which is the good side, too high. It was more like here, then way down. Okay, I'm not doing this very well. From here to off the camera, let's say a foot below the camera, back up to about here, back down, up, down, like that. And then not sleeping very well on top of it. In fact, I come to the conclusion that I had sleep apnea. That's not even in question right now. I had allergies, all day long to all kinds of things. Don't have those anymore. Don't have problems with really any of headaches. I used to get headaches all the time. I mean, not migraines. Never had an issue with migraine headaches, but just general dull, not particularly fun pain. And I would go lie down. I would speculate that I was dehydrated, which is probably also part of the problem. I haven't had a headache. I haven't had a digestive issue. I haven't had really a bad mood of the type that I used to get into for no apparent reason. Any health issues. I haven't had any since I stopped eating sugars. Now I say stopped eating sugars. I add 1 teaspoon of coconut sugar to my coffee. Not every day, because I don't have coffee every day, but I'd say 4 or 5 days out of 7. And I add a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of honey, and I buy locally grown bio honey, not the Chinese, say, crap that you can find in supermarkets, or the processed crap that you can find in supermarkets. I add that to my oatmeal, and I have oatmeal 5 or 6 mornings a week instead of what I used to have, which was cereal, which was, again, mostly processed. And even the stuff that wasn't heavily processed, it still has added sugars. Juice has added sugars. Even if it says 100% juice, there's a certain amount of sugar they're allowed to add to give it their distinctive taste. Minute Maid has one taste, Tropicana has another. If you don't believe me, try it, and you'll see. I don't juice anymore. When I started going into what I would call a health-aware phase about a year ago. Actually, even more than that, because I started working out a lot, and I got myself into pretty good shape. But I really wasn't aware at first how important diet was. Then when I became aware how important diet was, I went looking at the old food pyramid and supplementing. And really, I wasn't doing my body any favors. Maybe a little bit, because I tried to cut, just voracious eating of sweets. I mean, when I was a kid, I still remember I think it was the 5th grade and maybe the 6th, no, it would have been the 6th grade. I used to trade, my mother would make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which in the end, especially using the kind of peanut butter with palm oil and sugars and jelly, which was usually Welch's grape jelly, it's what I liked best. But mom would make me that sandwich along with a Hostess Ho-Ho, which I really liked, and I think she would also try to put in some kind of vegetable, maybe a carrot or something. I wouldn't eat that, I'd throw that away. But I traded my sandwich every day with a friend of mine for his Hostess something else. I can't remember, it was a Ding Dong, whatever. And so my lunch consisted of orange juice, a Hostess Ho-Ho, and a Hostess, let's say, Ding Dong. I don't think there are a lot of doctors right now recommending, or anybody, because I don't really go to doctors for health advice. They're mostly trained badly. They're mostly trained, Ancel Keys' idea that everything bad was saturated fats turns out to be completely wrong. But I don't even think the people trained by Ancel Keys would have said, yeah, that's the way to go. 2 Hostess treats, a thermos full of orange juice, and make sure you throw away the vegetables. I doubt there are many people giving that advice other than me. And I wasn't really giving that advice. I was giving the advice to eat healthy and give me all your treats. So, didn't exactly fill me with nutrients as far as I'm concerned. So, in the end, which is around now, I'm going to say again, get rid of processed foods and sugary drinks. I haven't said enough about sugary drinks, but they're as bad or worse than the foods, the processed foods. Knock those 2 out. Energy drinks, Gatorade, even the healthy fruit juices, the Tropicanas, I forget the name of the one, Snapple, all of those are sugar. I drink now water with either half a lemon or half a lime, or just water. Feel great. And your dental bills will go down. And if you're taking something, a drug, for a chronic condition, and you start eating this way that I'm recommending, start paying attention to just how much of that drug you need. I'll do another video later about why I think any kind of drugs are a mistake. Something that you need immediately right now for a condition right now that will be stopped within a week or 2, okay. I'm still not big on that, but if that's the case, okay. But these high blood pressure pills, the pills for moods, for depression, Viagra, all of these are a giant, I want to say hoax, a poisoning of America. And then eventually you're taking pills to deal with the side effects of the first set of pills. Maybe I should take a pill for that. Pills for the side effects of pills. That's when we're really getting loony. I think I saw somewhere that America takes 75% of all the prescribed medication in the world, even though we constitute something like 5% of the population. That might sound like, well, hey, we're number 1, we're just better off than there, we can afford them, and woo, we're gonna kick the world's ass. Pretty soon it'll be 85%. Well, that would not be a good thing. 75% is not a good thing. If we took close to 0%, then I'd be happy. Anyhow, that's this video, and I hope I'll see you for the next one.